And we continue now with former Alaska Governor, Fox News contributor, Governor Sarah Palin. All right, Governor, you said you kind of are feeling it in terms of you're engaged. Is it more than ever before? It's becoming crunch time. You've got to make a decision, or else some states are going to be out of play for you. Where do you stand in your thought process in terms of jumping into this Republican presidential nomination campaign?
There is still time, Sean, and I think on both sides of the aisle you're going to see people coming and going in this race. By the way, I think that President Obama, after this misnomer called this jobs bill that's been proposed, which really is a tax hike increase bill that he's proposed. After that, I think more and more Democrats are going to realize that if they want to retain the Democrat control of the White House, they're going to have to put somebody up in the primary against Obama. So I think there's going to be changes on that side and in the Republican race also in this primary. I think people are still going to be coming and going because there is still time, and I'm still one of those still considering the time factor and knowing, Sean, how important it is that we get this country back on the right track, knowing, Sean, that it's not enough to just change up the uniform. We need to change the entire game plan, and we need to change the entire team that's been there at the White House doing such great damage to our economy. We need to make sure that we have the best and most qualified, the most vetted candidate to come forth and rise to the surface after this primary process.
All right. Are you, I would say by November, you got to make a decision, though, right?
You do. I mean, legally you do, because you have to start getting your ducks lined up to have your name on these ballots. But I do think, Sean, this is going to be such an unconventional election cycle, because this has been such an unconventional administration that we are fighting so hard and so committed to replacing. It's not just the administration, but it's the Senate, those who have followed like sheep behind President Obama and allowed him to do what he has done in terms of harm to our economy. We are committed to increasing the number of fiscal conservatives in the House of Representatives also. So, it's a big agenda out there for those of us who are so extremely concerned about the future of our country, and whether we are candidates or whether we are supporters of the right candidacies. We're going to be out there working so hard in these next 14 months, but a lot is going to happen in these next 14 months. Mark my word, it is going to be an unconventional type of election process.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It's going to be interesting, and we still await your decision. It's going to be interesting. People ask me all the time what I think you're going to do, and I vacillate. I can't tell at different times. All right, here's an important question. Let's look at the top three candidates right now, and that would be Governor Perry, Governor Romney, and Michelle Bachmann. Strengths and weaknesses of the three. What would you like to see out of those three come Thursday night's debate right here on the Fox News channel?
Well, first, depending on what poll you're looking at, those three may be up there. Ron Paul may be in front of Michelle Bachmann, according to certain polls. I've seen my own name up there in the top three. Don't know how legitimate the poll is that I just looked at that said that. But, there's lots of vacillation, if you will, within these polls. But very appreciative that all of them have their strengths that they are articulating, and that, again, they're willing to be there in the arena to be bloodied up and to engage in vigorous debate so that electors have the best choices to make. They do need to talk about their experience, though, and I don't want to hear, as I said earlier, to hear rhetoric about them just putting up a fight against the crony capitalism or poor foreign policy decisions that have been made. I want to make sure that they have been effective in the past to prove that they have a record that we can build upon, knowing that that could carry them forward for what we need in this country. I want to know what their successful track record is. They need to talk about that going into this debate.
Yeah, what would you want to hear, for example, the whole issue of the Social Security being a Ponzi scheme has become a big issue. Mitt Romney's addressed it. Mitt Romney had some pretty strong words today about President Obama. He said that he's naive, arrogant, misguided, dangerous in terms of his foreign policy as it relates to Israel and the Palestinians. What would be the one thing you want to hear out of Perry and the one thing you want to hear about Romney? Pretty much in every poll, the two front runners.
Well, Perry is right when he talked about Obama's foreign policies as it relates to Israel. It's been misguided, it's been weak, and that has resulted in the Palestinians thinking that they're going to be given a state, and they're using Obama's own words against Americans now as they go into this UN vote at the end of the week. So Perry's right in the statement he made, and Perry and others are right too when they talk about the need to reform our entitlement programs. Social Security isn't going to be solvent in the future, and we will have entitlement reform. It just comes down to how are we going to get that reform? Will the world's capital markets do it to us, or will we diplomatically and democratically reform our own programs?
Yeah, you know, I find myself a little bit in Newt Gingrich's camp in this respect about his comments that he's made in the last couple of debates. Everybody up on that stage would want to repeal Obamacare. Everyone up there supports, at least they say so, cutting taxes to stimulate the economy, ending burdensome regulation, repealing Obamacare. You know, there are so many fundamental differences with all of them versus Obama that I think any of them will be infinitely better. I have strong disagreement with Ron Paul about Iran. That's problematic for me. But I think there are certain things that I think each of them can do to strengthen their position. You agree with that?
I do agree with that. I agree, too. I think what you're suggesting is many of us who are supporters of ABO, you know, anybody but Obama.
Yeah, that's me.
That's what it's going to come down to. But at the same time, as I said, though, we need to make sure we're not just switching up the uniform. We need a new team. We need a new game plan. That's the only way that we're going to save our country.
Yeah. All right, Governor Palin, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And coming up, billionaire